So now we shall start with liability of the company. When a person accepts the directorship in the company, he owes certain duties to the company. They have to function like agents and trustees of the company. If they fail to perform such duties or if they are negligent in their conduct, they will be held liable to the company and its shareholders. The directors may be held liable to the company in the following instances. Firstly, negligence. If the directors perform their duty negligently, they will be held liable to compensate the company for any loss suffered due to such negligence. It is expected from the directors to exercise due care and diligence while performing his duties. Failing to do that will amount to negligence. However, the directors will not be liable for mere errors of judgment if they acted bona fide for with the benefit of the company. So, liability of the company. If when a person accepts the directorship, he has certain duties or he is obligated towards the company, and he has to function like agent or trustee of the company. If he fails to perform such duties, if they are negligent in their conduct, they will be held liable to the company and its shareholders. So firstly, negligence. If the director perform the duties negligently, they will be held liable to compensate the company for any loss suffered due to such negligence. Then it is expected from the directors to exercise due care and diligence while performing his duties. Then failing to do that will amount to negligence. However, the directors will not be liable for mere errors of judgment if they acted bona fide or for the benefit of the company. Then next is misfeasance. Misfeasance may be defined as any breach of duty in the conduct of the company's affairs which causes loss to the company. It is nothing but misconduct or willful misuse of powers. If the misconduct is not willful, it would be not amount to misfeasance. During the winding up of a company, if the director indulges in the act of misfeasance in relation to the company, the court can ask him to repay or restore the money or property or any thereof respectively with interest. In such case of death of a director or misfeasance, proceedings can be continued against his legal heirs or legal representatives. Under section 463 of the Act, the directors can avail relief against liability for breach of trust or misfeasance. So, if the company is liable, that is, if the directors are given the responsibility of the company, it is expected that they complete their responsibility with full, with proper authority, and they do not create any negligence or misfeasance in the company so as to make them liable for any kind of losses in the company. Now, next is Ultra Vires Act. Directors are supposed to act within the scope of the Companies Act. Memorandum and articles. If they exceed these limits, they will personally be held liable for such acts being ultra vires the Act, memorandum and articles. Breach of trust. Being trustees of the company's property, the directors should act in the interest of the company and not in their personal interest. The assets of the company are entrusted to the directors to be applied to certain defined objects, and they will be held liable for breach of trust if they apply them to some other objects. Malified act. A director may indulge in a fraudulent or a dishonest activity for the purpose of personal gain, thereby making the company suffer the loss. In such case, director has to compensate. So, if a director acts ultra vires the act, so in that case, if the exceed the limits, they will personally be held liable. If it is within the scope of the Companies Act, then in that case, the company shall be obliged, or company shall take the responsibility. But if it goes beyond a limit or beyond the powers of the Companies Act, then in that case the director shall be responsible. Then breach of trust. Directors being the trustees of the company, the property of the Directors should act in the interest of the company and not in their personal interest. Then Malified Act. If any act includes a fraudulent or a dishonest activity for the purpose of personal gain, thereby making the company suffer the loss, in such a case, director has to compensate. Next, liabilities of the directors of liability for the acts of co-directors. If a director is not a part to a wrongful act of the board or coordinate co-director, he cannot be held liable to the company or to the third party. However, if a director is made liable for the acts of a co-director, he gets the right to recover contribution from the other directors or co-directors who were a party to the wrongful act. Criminal liability. Besides the civil liability, the directors of the company may also face criminal liability if they indulge in wrongful acts or if they fail to perform various duties imposed by the Company Act. For failure to perform certain duties, the directors are applicable to the penalties by way of fine or imprisonment. They can also be held liable under the common law and the Indian Penal Code. Some of the provisions of the Companies Act under which directors incur criminal liability are for failure to repay deposits within the prescribed time limit under section 73-74 is punishable with a fine ranging from rupees 1 crore to rupees 10 crore, and penalty for every defaulting officer is imprisonment up to 7 years or with fine ranging from rupees 25 lakhs to rupees 2 crores or with both. For issuing a prospectus containing untrue statement, penalty is ranging from rupees 50,000 to 3 lakhs. If a company with intent to defraud issues a duplicate certificate of shares, the company shall be punishable with a fine which shall not be less than 5 times the face value of the shares involved in the issue of the duplicate certificate, but which may extend to 10 times the face value of the shares or rupees 10 crores, whichever is higher, and every officer of the company who is in default shall be liable for the action of under section 447. For failure to lay annual accounts, financial statements at the annual general meeting, penalty is imposed up to 1 year or with a fine ranging from rupees 50,000 to rupees 5 lakhs or with both. The central government may require such class or classes of unlisted companies as may be prescribed to prepare the financial results of the company on such periodical basis and forms as may be prescribed. To obtain approval from the Board of Directors and complete audit or limited review of such periodical financial results in such manner as may be prescribed, and file a copy with the registrar within a period of 30 days of completion of the relevant period with such fees as may be prescribed. Penalty where no specific penalty is provided in the Act, where the director fails to comply with the provisions of the Act for which there is no specific penalty in the Act. In such a case, the director shall be punishable with a fine up to rupees 10,000, and case of default is in continuing nature for the fine up to rupees 1,000 for every day after the date first during which the default continues liable to a penalty of rupees 10,000, and in case of continuing contravention with the further penalty of 1,000 rupees for each day after the first day during which the contravention continues. Now, subject to maximum of 2 lakh rupees in case of a company or 50,000 rupees in case of an officer who is in default or any other person. It has been already discussed that the director acting honestly and reasonably may in proper cases be relieved of this liability. So this was about the penalty which shall be imposed if the directors do not work within the limits prescribed to them by the company or the memorandum and articles. Then next we have remedies for breach of duties. There are various duties stipulated in the Companies Act to be performed by the directors of the company. If any director fails to perform such duties, he will be he will have to face civil and criminal sanctions under the provisions of the Act. Civil remedies. Injunction. Injunction is an order of the court restraining a person from doing a particular act. It is a preventive relief that is generally invoked when damages is not an adequate relief. It is an equitable remedy wherein the tribunal can pass orders to a person or direct him to do or to refrain from doing certain acts. The shares are the shareholders are depositors have right to file case suit and to prevent a director from doing any illegal or wrongful activity. No, damages or compensation. Claim for compensation against the directors can be made in the following circumstances. Prospectus is issued with an intention to defraud the creditors, where deposits have been taken to defraud the directors. Uh, when a director is found to be guilty in an investigation initiated by the government for misfinance, fraud, or mismanagement, any other fraudulent, unlawful activity, or omissions. So these are the civil remedies which are available. Then next we have restoration of company's property. When an action is initiated at the instances of a company or the central government in pursuance of an investigation report by the shareholders, the order may be passed against the directors to restore the property wrongfully withheld by the directors. So restoration means what? That the company shall take the property which is wrongfully given to the directors. Return the profits or gains illegally received. When undue gains are received by the directors, he is under an obligation to return the same to the company. Example: if he is found that a director has entered into an illegal cash book transaction and has pocketed the money, he may be compelled to return the gains illegally made. Sometimes a director diverts the clients of the company towards his own business or for his profits. He may be asked in such a case to return the profits he has made out of such transactions. This relief can also be claimed through class action. Dismissal of directors. A director may be dismissed by taking class action for the operation or mismanagement. Dismissal is also possible when fraud is committed in the process of incorporation of the company. For such dismissal will disqualify the director from being a director of the company, subject to certain conditions. Power of dismissal of the directors may be exercised by the tribunal. So this was about the dismissal of the directors and what all things directors can be done in case they commit any fraud. So now let us start with loans to directors, section 185. According to Black Law's dictionary, loan means a lending advance of money with absolute promise to repay a borrowing with a promise to repay delivery of money by one party and received by another. Is an agreement excess or implied or to repay or a deposit. What is a loan now? Loan means an amount which is borrowed from any financial institute and which has to be returned over a specified period of time with certain amount of interest. The essential requirement of a loan is to advance of money or some article upon the understanding that it shall be returned and may or may not carry interest. As per section 185, except as provided in the Act, a company hereinafter referred as lending company for the purposes of this Act cannot give directly or indirectly any loan to or give any guarantee to or provide any security for a loan. So section 185. No company shall directly or indirectly advance any loan, including any loan represented by a book debt to give or any guarantee or provide any security in connection with any loan taken by any director of a company or of a company which is its holding company, or any partner or relative of any such director, or any firm in which any such director or relative is a partner. A company may advance any loan, including any loan represented by a bank, by a book debt, or give any guarantee or provide any security in connection with any loan taken by any person in whom any of the director of the company is interested, subject to the condition that a special resolution is passed by the company in a general meeting, provided that the explanatory statement to the notice for such relevant general meeting shall disclose the full particulars of the loan given or guarantee given, or the security provided, and the purpose for which the loan or guarantee or security is proposed to be utilized by the recipient of the loan or guarantee or security, or any other relevant fact. And the loans are utilized by the borrowing company for its principal business activities. Explanation: for the purpose of this subsection, the expression any person in whom any of the director of the company is interested means any private company of which any such director is a director or member, and in any body corporate at a general meeting of which not less than 25% of the total voting power may be exercised or controlled by any such directors, or by two or more such directors together, or any body corporate, the body of directors, managing director or manager whereof is accustomed to act in accordance with the directions or instructions of the board, or any director or directors of the leading company. So the for the purpose of loan, they have given some provisions that who shall be liable to take a loan from any of the persons interested in the company. Nothing contained in subsections 1 and 2 shall apply to the giving of any loan to a managing or a full-time director as part of the conditions of service extended by the company to all its employees, or pursuant to any scheme approved by the members by a special resolution, or a company which in the ordinary course of its business provides loans or gives guarantee or securities for the due repayment of any loan, and in respect of such loans in interest is charged at a rate not less than the rate of prevailing yield of 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, government security closest to the tenure of the loan, or any loan made by a holding company to its wholly owned subsidiary company, or any guarantee given or security provided by a holding company in interest of any loan made to its wholly owned subsidiary company, or any guarantee given or security provided by a holding company in respect of loan made by any bank or financial institution to its subsidiary company, provided that the loans made under clauses C and D are utilized by a subsidiary company for its principal business activity. So this was about loan, that how holding subsidiary, then directors, managing directors, whole-time directors, all these people who are involved with the business or with the company shall see to it that how much loan they can accept, and what are the rules and regulations regarding the same. Now let us understand about penalty. Now if penalty is advanced, or a guarantee or security is given or provided or utilized in contravention to the provisions of this section, the company shall be punishable with a fine which shall be less than 5 lakh rupees, but which may extend to 25 lakh rupees. Every officer of the company who is in default shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 6 months, or with fine which shall not be less than 5 lakh rupees, but which may extend to 25 lakh rupees. And the directors or the other persons to whom any loan is advanced, or guarantee or security is given or provided in connection with any loan taken by him or other person shall be punishable with imprisonment which may extend to 6 months, or with a fine which shall not be less than 5 lakh rupees, but which may extend to 25 lakh rupees, or with both. One has to keep in mind that the restrictions of section 185 cover only transactions directly relating to loans, etc., but they equally apply to indirect lendings. Whether a deposit is to be treated as a loan or not will normally depend upon the nature of the transaction and the facts gathered from the terms and conditions attached to the transaction. Indirect loans to the directors. In Dr. Friedai Adhesive Mehta versus Union Bank of India, 1991 70 cases, 210 Bombay. The Bombay High Court held that when a company gives official accommodation in a matter of payment of debt to one of its directors, it is not and does not amount to loan, or in company in this case is not liable for contravention of section 295 corresponding section 185 of the Companies Act 2013. When section 295 of the old act refers to an indirect loan or to a director, what it means is that the company shall not give a loan to a director though through the agency of one or more intermediaries. The word indirectly cannot be used to convert into a loan something which is not in substance of a loan. The court has concluded in this case that a company selling one of its flats to one of its directors on receiving half price in the cash and agreeing to accept the balance in installment does not amount to giving loan to the director. It is a credit sale. It cannot be described even as an indirect loan. There is a difference in terms of loans and a credit. So I hope you have understood about loans and what is the penalty in case any of the directors does the same. Now next, in the next class we shall be starting with remuneration of directors. So I hope you have understood whatever we have studied today.